One of the tragic, heartbreaking, heart-aching things about this season have been the scenes in hospitals where patients are left on a bed alone in a hallway for hours and days on end because there's no room. And if there was, there'd be no one to care for them, no one to help them, no one to give them aid. It's happened to people I've loved. Has it happened to someone you've loved? And the best we can hope is that their cell phone has enough charge that we can talk occasionally, or that they're on a ground floor with a window where we can go and see them from the outside. There was no one to help a man who Jesus encountered one day. Here's his story. You'll find it in John chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. If you can find a Bible, read it along with me. After this, there was a festival of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now, in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, there was a pool, called in Hebrew Bethzatha, which has 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, and while I am making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take your mat, and walk." At once the man was made well, and he took up his mat and began to walk. Now, that day was the Sabbath. So the Jews said to the man who had been cured, "It is the Sabbath. It is not lawful for you to carry your mat." But he answered them, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Take up your mat and walk.'" They asked him, "Who is the man who said to you, 'Take up and walk'?" Now, the man who had been healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had disappeared into the crowd that was there. Later, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you've been made well. Do not sin any more, so that nothing worse happens to you." The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. If you've been following along on Thursdays, you'll know that we've been working our way through the 7 signs in John's Gospel, signs that are miracles, signs that point us to and connect us with the presence of God in Christ Jesus. This is number 3 of the 7 signs. It starts with a man who has no one to help him. And when Jesus comes along, he doesn't help. He does offer a question. Do you want to be made well? Before we can be made well, we have to want it. It's not a guarantee, but it is a precondition of being made well. Jesus also offers a command. Stand up, take your mat, and walk. If you spend any time in the healthcare system, you quickly learn 1 or 2 lessons. You learn that you have to take initiative. You have to be your own best advocate. You can't depend on anyone else, not doctors or nurses, to carry you. And you have to be willing to do your own part in the healing. That means a will to walk, to get out of bed, to do the therapy. Healing doesn't just come when all we do is lay there. But the story didn't end there. The man ends up in the temple doing what Jesus had commanded, walking with his mat. That's when he's stopped by the temple faithful, who point out that he's breaking the law He's carrying his mat on the Sabbath. Simply not done. Here's a lesson I take. Sometimes to get healing or to become the best person we can be or to live out Jesus' commands, we have to be willing to break the law, to step outside the rules, to go beyond where caution and convention dictate. I don't know what has you paralyzed these days. Maybe it's an issue of health. Maybe it's an issue of spiritual health. Maybe you've been stuck waiting for someone to come along and help you get help in the only ways you've ever been told it can happen. But Jesus has come along. He's coming to you this day. He wants to know if we do want to get better, be better. And he commands us to walk, to take the initiative, to do our part in the getting better. And along the way, if we have to step out beyond where caution and convention dictate and break a few rules, go for it. Of course, there will be others who see us well and on our way and won't stand for the Jesus who instigated it all. Stay tuned on Thursdays, for the signs will point to danger up ahead.